important for us all to find something that we like to do, and it gives us like a purpose and makes us happy, because we're so busy making everybody else happy. Like, it's important for us to do something for us.
Hey peeps, welcome to the Flexible Neurotic podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Milken. Let's do this. We're just going to announce that I'm wearing a one-piece bathing suit. We're just winging it, right? And
Winging it, definitely.
I'm sitting on a leather chair and my fucking inner thighs are sweating.
I mean, you look hot.
I don't know.
Look
Jean
how small you are.
You look how fucking tan you are.
Well, I was on the chair with my cover up to here because I'm trying to stay out of the sun. So,
I call myself visor bitch because I'm always wearing a visor. It's so unattractive, but I need to do it.
Saves the skin. So
I know. Gotta do what we gotta do at this age, right? We'll just pretend that I'm at the pool. I'm usually not in a bikini because I don't wear bikinis anymore. I've retired those.
Feel a bikini holds the boobs better.
I know you have really good boobs.
Well, they're hanging in there for now.
I know. I need to like readdress that situation. Like gravity has kicked in and I'm looking at your boobs going, okay. Maybe I need to
I'm still good.
Myself. Welcome back to the next episode of the Flexible Neurotic podcast. I'm Dr. Sarah Milken, the Flexible Neurotic. This is the midlife self-reinvention podcast where we dig into all the ugs and fabulosities of midlife. Today, I have a really fun guest. I mean, look, she fucking showed up to the podcast in a triangle bikini. I can't wait for this to be on YouTube. She has an amazing Instagram account. I guess you could call her a fashion influencer mixed with everybody's Instagram bestie. On her daily coffee talk, she shares fashion, world events, how to do at-home Louis Vuitton purse repairs, how maybe her husband annoyed her, what's happening at Pilates, the latest and greatest shopping finds from Target to Celine. I don't even want to know how much I've spent shopping on your links, to be honest. Like, thankfully, my credit card does not say Jen Sattler Finds, and I just said your name. I don't even want to know how you get all of this done because I can't do links. I have no idea how to do that. I love her, and I already said her name, and her name is Jen Sattler. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Sarah. I feel like we're like best friends.
I know. We're like totally best friends. I just want to say that I want to thank you for all of your support for my podcast since the beginning. I have no idea how you found me. I don't know how I found you, but you're like the person who's like listening to the podcast, going on your walk, sharing about it, resharing about it. And I so appreciate it.
I don't know how we found each other either, but I feel like what you say always resonates with me. All your guests, like everything resonates with me. And when something resonates with me, I have to share it, with everybody. So I don't know who's listening, but I always have to share it. So I appreciate you and everybody that you always have on these shows and everything that you talk about, because it's so important for all of us in our age. So we should all be listening to Sarah.
Oh, no, we should all be watching you on your Instagram. Okay, so as you know, part of this podcast is the golden shit shovel, this sort of metaphorical and real tool where we dig into all the midlife layers of shit. It's like raising teenagers, your body kind of falling to pieces and putting it back together, hormones, marriages, wanting to reset, all the things. And I bet you have like 100 different shovels. You probably have a tie-dye shovel. You probably have a bedazzled shovel.
I don't think I've ever bedazzled before. That's one I've never done before.
I feel like that could have been in your past.
No. Wow. I think it's too intricate for me. I don't know if I have.
Yeah, see, I don't like very specific things like that either, because I don't have the patience for it.
Yeah, that I might not have the patience for. But
the tie-dyeing we're going to have to get into.
If we all are honest, we all have a million shovels, because if we're not being honest, then, like we're living in a fantasy world because we all have shit. Nobody has like a perfect life. And so we just talk about it. Nobody else does. And I think it's important to talk about it because we're all dealing with it. So that's how like
Do you ever feel like there's a certain range of like too much TMI, too little TMI?
definitely. And you get pushback on a lot of things in DMs. So, but also, I'll always say something like, I know you're not going to agree, but I'm going to say it anyway because for me, it's like I think that I started all of this with stories because I have to get everything out of my head, like for my own, like to relieve my own anxiety and all of those things. Like, I feel like when I get on here and talk to whoever and however it started, I don't even remember, it just makes me like feel lighter because it's getting out of my own head. But there's pushback, a lot of DMs. I mean, I get a lot of DMs and a lot of people don't agree with a lot of things I say. So you can't make everybody happy, but
And
it's
does that ever get to you, or have you had an ability to compartmentalize it? Like, do you go to sleep with it, or you're just like,
no, it gets to you. Some like it definitely you could say it doesn't bother me. And it doesn't bother me like it hurts my feelings, but it bothers me that I have to um like repeat what somebody said to me and like respond to it because that's another I have to get out of my head. So there are shitty comments all the time.
Now, are the comments about you personally? I mean, I know you talk about controversial topics, or not even controversial, but also just like important. I was going to talk about it later, but we can talk about it now. It's like the whole Jewish thing. Like, you and I are both Jewish, October 7th, and we don't have to get into all of that. But I think if people follow us, they know how we feel. Did you feel like that those are the kinds of topics where you get pushback on, or someone's like, why are you posting an expensive purse?
Well, definitely Israel. People tell me to stay in my lane. I liked you for fashion, but why are you getting so political? Um, a lot of people send me articles, that are the other side, and I don't. I try to be, very, very respectful of all of it, and but it's important for me to share it. So if someone's going to unfollow me because of something I post, whether it's because a bag's too expensive or because of something about Israel, then I'm sorry, but move along and you can unfollow me because I think that things that we have to share these days are much more important than whether or not you lose a follower or not. So
And have you
that's,
always been that kind of person where you're just like, fuck that? Or have you come into that as you've gotten older?
I think, so many people are like, I want to start going onto Instagram or onto social media and start like showing my face more if they have, even if they have a jewelry line or whatever. And they're like, it's so hard to do, on stories. How do you do it? And I think that like you just have to start somewhere and you find your voice. And I definitely was not always like this. And like my husband will always say, you never ever said anything. Like now, like you have like a opinion about everything. But I think as you get older, you find your voice. And I think it's important to find your voice and not live in the shadows of everybody else's voice. So I think definitely as I got older, it's, you know, and you have to be confident enough to find your voice and to accept the ramifications of finding your voice from other people. So it is,
And
I don't,
when did you actually start this platform?
um,
Like, it doesn't have to be the
Instagram,
exact year, but
I don't even remember Instagram a long time ago. And like I had a blog a long time ago. And then I couldn't like think of things to write about all the time. And I felt like so much pressure to have to like get it out. And you're supposed to have this many entries a week.
and
And
like the
it was,
SEO, I don't even know what the fuck that
I
is.
don't,
I know.
it was too much for me. And then when Instagram started to, in the past, like you couldn't share a link unless you had 10,000 or more
Right, I
followers.
remember that.
And then once they stopped that, I was like, why should I write a blog? I could get everything out that I'm literally thinking that I would write in my Instagram story. So then like I transitioned into that. And I think like on stories, like on Coffee Talk, I think it started when my younger son was in high school. Like I would come back from driving him to school, and then like along the way, all of the things that like popped into my mind driving him to school or driving home from school, I would come home and hop onto stories and like start to get out of my head. So I think that's when it started, and he's going to be a junior. So somewhere along there, I don't know. I have
So
no sense of time with things like this because I'm the worst. Like I don't time things. I don't like obviously I'm in a bathing suit because I was like I didn't even realize this was happening today. Um I don't prepare for things. I don't have like a script or know what I'm going to talk about in coffee talk in the morning. It just comes out. So that's I
you're
don't
just
know.
doing you.
Yeah,
Which I think a lot of us have a hard time doing. And that's why I want to talk about it, because I feel like if people like us who have sort of figured out how to do it for ourselves and how to share information, and you really are putting yourself kind of in a very vulnerable place. It doesn't mean you have to be crying on Instagram all day long, but you are sharing your opinions that are personal. You're sharing things about your life, things about the world, your perspectives, and you're definitely opening yourself up to Pandora's box.
definitely. I mean, um it's the kind of thing like you rip off a band-aid. Once you start, it just keeps coming out. See, now we have a landscaper next door.
I
So
can't
I don't
hear
know if
it.
you can. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
no. I mean, my dog's
Um,
gonna bark and some kid's gonna order, Postmates egg burritos in a second, I'm sure.
no, I don't know. I think that once you start, it just keeps coming out. And I do share a lot of things. Like a few months ago, we lost a good friend of ours, which I don't really want to talk about because I wanted to be respectful for her. But I talk around things sometimes if I don't want to give full details. But I think that I'm based on DMs because I hate to say followers. I like to use
I
the word
know.
community. I don't like that word followers. Um, but maybe I don't have a ton of followers, but from the coffee talks, I have such a nice community of women who are so highly engaged and tell me so many private things about themselves. I have I call everybody my friends. One friend whose husband is in the hospital right now. She's like, I don't know why I'm telling you all of this, but it's just, I don't know. Somehow it evolved into this community that is just very meaningful and we all
Oh,
get something from each
I have
other.
the same exact thing. I know about people's lives like it's nobody's business. I know about their husband, their kids, and I've never met these people and they've never met me.
Exactly.
And I, like you, respond to everyone who messages me. So it definitely is a huge commitment of time and energy. And do you ever feel like you can't get to it all, or do you just pace yourself?
Well, to be totally honest, I'm having a like my day today is ridden with anxiety. Before we even got here, I just said to my kids, I'm gonna go sit in the sun. I'm gonna like calm my central nervous system down because I am just having, wait, hold on, there's some noise in the background. Hold on a second.
I can't hear it.
Okay. So I just have a tremendous amount of anxiety today, and I feel like I can't get to everything I need to get to. I needed to create two different things of content that were due, that I had to follow certain guidelines, which is very hard for me to do. I like to just do things off the cuff. I like it to be more organic and not have to follow scripts and things like that. And then now I'm waiting for approval on things. And then I had something, at a friend's house that I couldn't get to today. And then I had something tonight I didn't RSVP to. So now I can't, like, I just have and then other private things that obviously happen in your life on a daily basis that create anxiety. So today I'm having a really stressful day and I can't get to everything and I won't. And that's fine.
And then I
Just the
just
way it
threw a
is.
fucking podcast episode at you. Like, and you're in a bikini and you're making it look effortless and easy and sexy and hot. And I fucking love it. It's so good.
And I feel like I can't get like air into my lungs because when I get anxiety, I feel like
That's
pressure in
exactly
my
how I
chest.
feel.
So
And sometimes I
yeah.
don't really even know what the anxiety is from. And my husband's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, I don't know. My chest is tight. I don't know. Don't ask me questions.
So if you don't get to it, you don't get to it. And that's fine. I mean, there's always like later, tomorrow, whenever. So if I don't get to it, it might stress me out, but I don't get to it. But I do try to get to all of my DMs the best that I can. And I kind of wish that you can like, there were folders to put everybody
I
into, like, I
totally
need to get
agree.
back to you or
I
whatever.
know. And
And I
then
wish,
sometimes I screenshot them because I'm not good about links and all that stuff. So I'll screenshot it and be like, okay, I have to get back to her with the visor link later. You know what I mean? And then sometimes I don't. And then they'll DM me again. And then I feel bad or they feel like maybe I forgot. I don't know. You can't be perfect all the time.
you definitely, and that's the truth. So, and a lot of times things get buried. And I don't know if people realize that you're getting so many DMs that like sometimes it gets buried and then you can't find
I trust
the,
me.
so
I
yeah.
know.
So,
Now
you could just try and do your best.
for you with the kind of money making part to this, are you doing like when you do all the links, they're all connected and you make commissions and all of that. Do you feel like all of that is kind of worth it for the amount of time you're putting in?
That's a good question. Um,
I'm asking for
uh,
myself too, because I haven't done it yet. And I have people asking me all day long where things are from and this and that. And I'm like, I always try to weigh like the cost benefit for me.
well, I think that a lot of people think that when someone is sharing a link, I think that what they think that you're making, like the commission is so high and people are just making like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. The commissions a lot of times are quite low.
I know that's
And
why I'm asking you, like, do
yeah,
you find it worth it, or is it more about just the collaboration and building your name and that kind of thing?
you know what? It first of all, it keeps me busy. It keeps like I'm using my brain at least. And I don't know. It's something that like I feel like if you are the kind of person that if you go out to lunch with somebody and someone's like, "Where is your shirt from?" that you're not just going to say, "Oh, thank you," and not tell them. Like I'm going to tell you everything.
Right.
My bathing suit's from Walmart. So like I just think that like I like to share, even if I'm going to make 2% commission on a $10 bathing suit top. Like I made 20 cents. Like I made nothing. But I think it's more. I think there's more to it. Like someone said to me this morning, I'm going to a wedding and I have to go in, I have to be they're going to be in the we're going to be in the grass. Should I wear a heel? So I took a few pictures of shoes and sent it to her. Not making anything from it, but like you're just sharing things and sharing with the community, and it's not always about how much you make. Would I like to be making more? Of course. Do I
Right.
spend a long time doing it? I do. But
But you love it. And I mean, that's exactly the boat that I'm in. Like it does take a lot of time to do my Instagram, do the podcast, get the guests, write the material, all the things. So then for me, I'm like, is it worth doing all the link stuff? I just don't know yet.
yeah. And I was just going to say something. Now I totally forgot. Um, it's definitely, I feel like if you build it, they will come. Like at some point, like it's sometimes you think, why am I doing this? Like if I sold something for $500, someone bought something for $500 and I made like five, whatever the commission was, like nothing. I'm like, why am I doing this? But I do think it's, if you build it, they will come. And it's very, very hard to grow on all of these platforms. I'm sure on the podcast like it's very, very hard to grow. And unless you keep doing it, you're not going to grow. So consistency is 100% key. And there'll be days where you don't see me on at all. I just don't feel it. I don't see anything I want to share with you. Nothing is interesting to me. And I'm not going to force it. And I'm not going to
That's
buy things
exactly
just
how
to
I
buy
feel too.
things.
Yeah, that's exactly how
And
I
I'm
feel
not a
too.
buyer just to buy and then like return. Like I might, like I'll share things. Most of the stuff I share, I don't buy. I'm not a billionaire. I can't buy everything I share. But it's always pieces that like I love or I can see, wearing for this or for that. So that's why I keep doing it. I don't know. Will it pan out to something one day? I don't know.
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean, but what I love about it, and it's the same thing for me, and what I want other women to get out of this episode and just my whole podcast and platform is even though you think it's small, it's much bigger than just you. Like you've created a community, whether it's 500 people, 50 people, or 5,000 people, and it brings you meaning and you have a why. Like you love it. Like if somebody, like on days where I'm so frustrated with my podcast or my Instagram and I'm like, I just want to burn the house down, I ask myself, would I not want to have it tomorrow? And the answer is always no.
right. That's a very good way to say it. And it's good to have a why. I mean, there are so many, people our age. I mean, I'm older than you, but there are so many people our age. Like your kids go off to school and like when your kids are in school, you're on the bleachers with certain friends like every week for sports and you see people at school and functions and all of a sudden they're out of school and it's like your life totally changes. Your friend group changes. There's a lot of changes that happen and it's like you find yourself like, well, what am I doing? Do I just want to sit and clean the house all day and then make dinner? I don't really want to do that. I don't like to clean my house all day. So, like, I think it's important, whatever it is in your life, a podcast, link sharing, whatever it is, pottery. I think that it's important for us all to find something that we like to do and it gives us like a purpose and it makes us happy because we're so busy making everybody else happy. Like it's important for us to do something for us and
And what
not
did you do in your past life?
I didn't like I was just a stay-at-home mom for years and years.
So you
That's
got
all.
married young. You were
I got
stay at
married
home.
young. I worked in retail on and off, and that was really it. And then once the kids came, I didn't do anything. And I always thought, oh, I want to find something to do like between 9 and 2, so I can take the kids to school, pick them up from school, and go to all of the games and all of the concerts and whatever. What kind of job is that? You can't
I
find
know.
something
It's
from like
hard.
9 to 2.
I have the
So
same thing.
you don't want to sit in an office all day. So it's hard to find something. So it's nice to create something for yourself too. So even if you're crafty, even if like whatever it is, it's important to learn to do something. Anyone can learn to do anything. You're interested in pottery, like any I keep saying pottery, I don't know why, but you can go on YouTube and learn how to do anything. So like I don't know, use your brain because it's only going to serve us better and for our longevity to use our brains and I don't want dementia.
I know.
so
We're all in the same boat. And did your husband, when you started, was he like, what's she doing? Why is she talking to the camera like this? Why is she sharing all our business?
you know what, he doesn't really pay attention. He's just starting to pay attention because some of his friends are like, did you see what Jen said
Oh
today
my
or
God, you have no
whatever, like
idea.
he doesn't
Jeremy's
even
like, I
know.
went to play golf and somebody's like, Instagram husband. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, somebody saw my back injection at the orthopedic surgeon. He's like, people know all this shit
The
about my
tick
life.
bite,
Yeah,
the
the
tick
tick
bite, right?
bite, the weighted vest. I'm dropping everything.
Wait,
Um,
when the window wouldn't close on the Range Rover when you were in
oh
Utah.
my God, Jen, I was traumatized by that. And he was
You
at
go
home with
back.
COVID. Oh my God. And I had like a 2 month bleed and I had fucking frozen shoulder. I'm honestly, I can't. But I
But people
feel
get that. They respond to that. They're like, I have frozen shoulder too. I like they want to hear that like what you're going through, they're going through, and it makes everybody feel
the
better.
colonoscopy.
Uh,
I mean,
all of the
honestly,
wipes. I pay attention. I
you do.
totally do.
You're like a flexible neurotic like scholar. I bet you'd like win the test. You know, you'd
Flexible
definitely
neurotic
get it. You'd
trivia.
definitely get an A. Now, do you ever, how do you get, I think a lot of women don't want to start something or start a podcast or start a platform because they're so afraid of the metrics. Oh my God, this person has 7 bazillion followers. This person has 400 million likes. Like, how do you get around all of that bullshit?
When I post on Instagram, I hide likes. And it's
Okay.
not because I don't want others to see how many likes something I post have has. I don't want to see it either because I know it's like it'll get in my head. Like I don't ever weigh myself because I
Oh
know
my
the
God,
number
I don't
will
either.
get
I was
in my
just going to
head.
say that. I was
Yeah.
just going to say that. I cover my likes 99.9% of the time,
Yeah.
and I don't weigh myself.
Because if you know yourself that you know how numbers will affect you, then it's not, you have to know how to like protect your mental health with it also, because there's a lot of I mean, you're very vulnerable to different things, and even just your own metrics you're vulnerable to. And I don't look to see how many people viewed my stories. I don't check analytics unless I had to share analytics to a brand. I don't look.
I
And if
know.
I lose followers or gain followers, like I'll notice, like obviously when you gain, you notice all of the gain, but I try not to look at
I
all.
know. Because then you're like, oh my God, well, that didn't do well. So now I'm just going to give up.
Yeah.
Eh,
But you end up overthinking, and we all overthink anyway. So it's I think it trips you up when you overthink everything, and then it like you end up like paralyzed, and then I don't know. It's not good for my mental health. So I don't do things like that.
I know
And that's
people are
why I
like, how
do
many
things off the cuff.
podcasts? Yeah, there are people like, how
Yeah,
many podcast episode downloads do you have? Like I'm like, I mean, I have a general sense, but I check it every few months. I don't even,
right.
that's not why I'm doing this. I'm not saying that I don't want more or there couldn't be more, but I can't get myself into like, oh, well, if I do this, then this will happen. And maybe that's not good business. I don't know. But like you said,
Yeah,
it depends on what your why is for a business. I think it seems like, you're in a fortunate enough situation. I'm in a fortunate enough situation where we can afford to make certain choices. And I acknowledge that because certain women can't make all the exact same
definitely.
choices. And it matters how much money they make from selling jeans on links or whatever, because that's the main breadwinning component of their home. So everyone's coming at this with different stuff.
Definitely. And I also think that whether you want to start a podcast or sharing links, and I say this to so many people, if I see people on Instagram who are sharing links and it's not linked to some sort of affiliate and they're sharing links often, I'm like, you have to either get a like to know it or shop my, because why are you giving it away for free? Even if they're
That's me.
making
That's me.
crumbs.
That's
Yeah.
me.
So we're going to talk about it. But
Oh,
even if you're like, I always say, like, eventually my crumbs will be a cake. But like, you also want to get something out of it. But you have to start somewhere, and you have to get out of your own way, and you have to be consistent. And for some people, for whatever reason, it hits and they knock it out of the park, and the followers come and they become like that new it person that everyone's following. And other people, are always like chugging along. Like I feel like I'm always chugging along, but I'm here to chug.
and
But I think you have to start somewhere.
how do you feel like your friends in your life have responded to all of it?
Um, should I be honest? um,
No, because I mean, I'll
I
share too. Like, I feel like there's a lot, I have a lot of acquaintances and friends and like who, look at all my stuff, they listen, but they never say anything. They never like a post. And it's really hard for me to say that because I'm not trying to be critical and I'm not judging. But I just feel like in the position that I'm in, when I see other women doing cool shit, I really try to like support and call it out and all of those things, but I don't feel like it's always 100% reciprocated.
I mean 100%. Exactly 100%. And I have a good friend who years ago, she's like, it's not your friends or your family who's going to like your shit. It's just not. And she's like, and you have to get past that. And it's so true. I don't know what it is.
I know
And
it's so
it's not
weird.
like people are jealous, because there are people in better positions, than I am, that there's no reason why a like or a comment or whatever. But I think people also don't realize how important it is for a podcast, to subscribe, to like, or to write a comment, or, for people's business, for Instagram, for whatever it is, for a like, a save, a share. It's so important for the creators to get that. And it seems that we get that more from our community that we've created than from our like inner circle,
Yeah,
for whatever the reason. I don't know what
yeah,
the
no,
mentality
I
is.
feel like it's a universal thing, to be honest. I feel like everyone
Yeah.
I talk to publicly or on the side, everyone's saying the same thing. But I occasionally come on, I talk about it, or I write it on my, story. I'm like, if you're here and you're viewing this, take a second and like the post. Put
Yeah.
a heart. I don't give a shit. But just acknowledge that you're here and that you're watching my stuff. Because either you're watching it because you think I'm a lunatic and there's bringing some entertainment value, or you actually
Right.
really like it. But in either event, if you're there, like throw it up.
Well, also if they're sharing other content from other people, whether
Yes.
it's social media or it's podcasting, if they're sharing those things, why not share your stuff? Like, who, they're
Or
so
you
close
see
to.
that they'll say like, "Oh, I'm never on Instagram," but then you see that they've liked other people's posts, and you're
A
like,
hundred, oh my God, that
why
I
the fuck me? Like, why am I the one who's like kind of holding the bag of shit here?
yeah. But if they post something, you share it. Like, I'm an oversharer. If someone posts something, someone, like my friend works for an attorney who does all like elder care and stuff. I posted her shit the other day. Like, if it's somebody's company, I'm gonna promote somebody. Like, why not? What if it reaches somebody and they get business from it? Then, like, that's great. Why wouldn't you want to support your friends, your family, even other accounts that you follow on Instagram? And that's why I have, like, the other day, everyone does this like Friday follow. It shouldn't be a Friday follow. Every time you find somebody who you love, whether it's their voice and they're talking about something that you love, or their style, share it. Like, why not share it? Give people the shout out and hopefully followers, and let them gain something from it. I don't know why people don't share things that they love. I mean, you share your fucking iced coffee, sorry,
Yeah.
from Starbucks, but like, you don't. So I don't know.
I don't know.
It's it's
I wish
you have
we
to,
could just, that's why I feel like we have to all keep having these honest conversations of like, we don't have to call out names. You know who you are. It's
right.
like, jump in the arena. And you know what? When you have something that's in a public way or whatever, I'm going to jump in the arena for you too,
Totally, a hundred
you
percent.
know? And
Definitely.
okay, so let's talk about midlife marriage for a second. What are some things you've kind of learned, picked up, insights along the way?
Okay, well, we're just married 27 years at the end of May, and that's a long
Congrats.
time.
Yeah, that is a long time.
um it's not easy. Not every day, excuse me, is like a high day. Not every Like, there are days like you annoy each other. There are days when you fight with each other. There are days that like you make each other laugh and you love each other. But that's like what marriage is. And I think that it's important that, like, how you talk about it or how I talk about it, there are so many people who are out there portraying that everything is so perfect and their kids are perfect and their husband is perfect and this is perfect. It makes me want to vomit, because that's nobody has like an easy life like that. And it's not easy. I mean, 27 years is a hard time. I was just talking about J-Lo getting a divorce. I'm like, why are they getting a divorce already? Like, work on it. Why do you just get a divorce after 2 years? Like, you have to work on shit. And it's not easy. And but if you're in it to be in it, then you have to work on stuff.
And how
So,
old are your kids again?
20 and 23
Okay, so you're empty nest
ish.
ish.
They're both
What's
here right now. So my younger son is going to be a junior, and my older son is still lives with us right now. So,
okay,
but
so you're
they're like
all, but they're like
they're
college out of the house, generally
yeah,
speaking.
definitely. Yeah.
And how did that impact your marriage at the beginning?
I thought it was annoying in the beginning, because everyone's like, "Oh, you're an empty nester now. What are you going to do? Are you going to go to France? Are you going to go here? Are you going?" I'm like, it's just like every other day. I still, it's like nothing has changed so much. I mean, you have like, you can walk around the house in your underwear now because not everyone's home. But like, I don't know. I don't think it changed so much. And I think so many people were like waiting for this like epic like shift in their life. And I don't know if you can get up and, not have responsibilities and be in France or be in Florida or be wherever, that's amazing. But for a lot of people, they have a normal life and they can't do all those things. So I felt like they're not here. I honestly miss them. I love my kids. I'm the biggest sap for my kids. Like I was just out here with them talking to them and I stopped them. I'm like, just so you know, this is my favorite thing. We're not talking about anything. We're talking about Barstool Sports. And this moment is my favorite thing. And every time it happens, I'll repeat myself that it's my favorite thing because it's my favorite thing. I love to be with them. And I also like when they're not in the house. But there was not some kind of like epic like awakening, like you're having sex on the couch or something. It was,
Yeah, I only have one out of the house, and I too just like adore my children, my teen daughter right now. I mean, she's a great kid, but I think as my husband says, good luck to you. You gave birth to yourself. Whereas my son, he's turning 20, he's just sort of like, hey mom, like I'm flying in tomorrow with like three friends and we're staying in the house and and it's so nice to have them all here and they're all in like a room and we're like laughing because like the inflatable bed keeps collapsing on one of the kids during the night. And then, it's just so fun. And they know that I think it's fun because it's like I'm taking pictures of them and posting
right.
them. And teen daughter's not as flexible. Like she's had a very serious boyfriend for a long time. This is probably the first time I'm even talking about it because she's just more, she's at that age where she's just more sensitive. And I have to respect that. And my son, I think boys and girls are just different. You don't have a daughter, so it's a
Yeah.
little different.
But I feel like one kid is like your Xanax, like my younger, he's like so easy and he has such a his personality, like nothing really rattles him. He's literally like Xanax. And when I'm stressed, like I need to be around him. So he brings me down. And then
Totally.
my older son is like your daughter. He does not want to be part of this. If I post him ever, I always ask permission. I'm very respectful of their personalities and but they're totally different. And but I love to be around them. I
I
love for
know.
people to be here with them. Same thing. Like my son is having his friends over next week from school. I'm like, bring them. Who
I
cares? Bring
know.
them.
I'm like,
So
sure. And then the high school friends join in. And I'm like, oh, total chaos. Cool.
chaos
Uh,
is we're lucky to have chaos.
I
I mean,
know.
I think
And I
that
was like, I'm
it's
recording
chaos
two
like that.
podcasts in the morning, you guys. And I
Yeah,
hear
just
like the
keep it
pool
down.
table going, and I'm like, but I don't say anything. I just like go to bed, do my thing. But it's, it's the whole empty nesting is hard, but I feel like when you feel like you've invested your all into something, then I don't know. It makes it all worthwhile.
It's 100%. I mean, we took a nice trip this past October, and it's nice to be able to like the kids are in school that you don't have to like think about them. They're safe in school or working or whatever. So it's nice just to be able to leave and not
I
have
know.
those things hanging over your head. But does that happen every month? No. But are you fortunate that you can do those things for sure?
Yeah.
But I think life is normal.
Yeah, I get it. You're not like turning into a stripper. You're not moving to the south of France.
No, my
You're not
husband
having
might
some
like
mid.
he might like the stripper pole idea. Well, I won't tell him that one.
You
I'll
have
be
the boobs for it, so it works out for you.
I don't know if I have I don't know if I have the pole strength, but
Oh, okay. We'll have to work on
yeah.
that. So would you
Yeah.
say you have a style?
Um I think that I do have a style because if I look back like on a Pinterest board, I always post the same thing or I've been like wearing the same thing for so many years. Like when you look back at things, some variation of it, like a pair of vintage Levi's or, you know, pairing things high and low. I think that that's always been my style. So, and that's what I think I share also with a lot of you guys. Like,
Do
I'll
you
buy
hear the dog? Do you hear
H&M.
the dog barking?
Nope, no. But I think it's hard for a lot of people to know their style also. I think everyone's always chasing somebody else's style. And then we're buying things and not wearing them, and because we don't really understand like how things fit us or what our, we don't hone into our own style. But I think that I'm always a little undone. Nothing is ever like perfect. And I don't think things out that hard. I just like throw something on. I think like we all need a good pair of vintage Levi's. You could do anything. You could dress them up, dress them down, and
Okay, but
I don't know.
you're taking me into Levi's land. And that's on my list for you. Who's Jeannie, vintage Jeannie? Is she a real
Jean,
person?
yes, she's Meg
Yeah.
Younger. She's Jeannie Vintage. And if you are looking for vintage Levi's, she is the guru to go to. She doesn't source like a lot of people buy like a lot of Levi's and they have to sort through them. She actually chooses the pieces that she's going to sell in her shop. So she hand selects pieces. She does a really good job measuring things because it's a hard fit to find a vintage Levi. It's very different from a modern fitting jean that we're used to, and she's the one you want to go to. And her I started to just buy things from her from Etsy, and now like we text each other like all the time. Like I adore her.
But buying jeans online, like when you buy a pair of A Goldie jeans or whatever, you like kind of know ballpark-ish they're gonna fit maybe-ish, 85%. But I feel like
No,
with
you need to know your
Levi's,
measurements. You have to, she'll teach you how to do it. But look, I live in the boonies. Like, I don't live in an area where I can just go to the mall and, try things on. So everything I buy online mostly. So, I live 45 minutes, 50 minutes away from like a Zara or something. So everything I buy is online. And as far as the Levi's go, I've been wearing them since I'm in high school. So I have a large selection of them that I can go back and measure them to get a good idea like what I would match up with her measurements that she shows. So it's easy for me. I know it's not easy for a lot of people, but she does give you really good guidelines.
and
She's
can you return
You
things?
cannot return. She's a very small business. She's, running it. She's like a 2-year-old daughter, 3-year-old daughter, and she's just yeah, single-handedly cornering the vintage Levi's market. I mean, so many people, Jenna Lyons buys from her, a lot of celebrities buy from her now, and she just
Well,
gets
they
the
probably
best.
just buy 30 pairs and toss the ones that don't fit.
Well, they buy a good, I mean, they do buy a good amount, but yeah, no, if you have like jeans that like A Gold D that don't have any stretch in them that are 100% cotton, you can get a good idea of like your measurements because that's a good brand that doesn't have stretch in it that you would understand your sizing.
And what is the cost range for vintage Levi's? I mean, some are
Um,
$800. Are there any
oh
that
well,
are,
yeah, but those are like the Big E or Selvage or things like that. I would say they're probably in like the $240 range,
and how many
something like.
pairs do you think you have?
Can I plead the fifth?
But how do you organize them? Like I don't have that many Levi's, but it's like these Levi's are for heels. These Levi's are like if you're wearing a shorter top. And it's like I haven't mastered the organizational piece of it yet.
Yeah. No, I think that that's hard. Like, there's a girl who I follow on Instagram who wears vintage 501s all the time, and she looks so good in the vintage 501s. And I feel like I'm chasing her fit, what it looks like on her, and I'm trying to replicate it on me. But her body is different from my body. So how something looks on her is never going to look the same on me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that like I have to stop doing that to myself, but like I know I have a certain pair that is a little bit cropped that I like to wear them with like a loafer or like a heel. I don't know. I have a lot. I really have a
Okay,
lot. I don't even want to say.
let's say you have 50 pairs of Levi's. How do you always wear the same two?
No, I
Or you,
rotate through.
but do you literally dig through all 50 of them to find the exact one you're looking for? Like, because
Well, at
I
this
started
point,
like taking,
I only wear my jeans from Meg now. I've like retired like so many old pairs. That I was chasing a fit that I was buying like from eBay or wherever that I was like, oh, this is only $30, so I'm just going to buy them. I figure it's better for me to spend the money and get a pair that like I understand the measurements that are going to fit me rather than like chasing lower price pairs that I'm going to buy like five of them and then I should have just spent the money on one good pair. So I have her pairs all together and now on the inside pocket I mark them all and I write Meg on all of the jeans.
Oh, see, what I
So
started
I
doing
know
with a
they're
Sharpie
hers.
on the label, I'll write like low heel, or
That's
you
a
know what
good
I
thing.
mean?
That's
Because
smart.
otherwise it's like mind numbing.
I think that that's a really
And
good
you saw
idea.
my friend Melissa love a good stripe. Her
Oh,
handles at
I
Love
love
a Good
her.
Stripe.
Yes, I
Sh
follow her. I chat with
yeah.
her. I love her.
And
I'm
so
so happy.
I know, and she's one of my really good friends. And so she'll come over and I'll be like, okay, wait, these jeans are for what height of a shoe? And then I like write it in the fit, write it on the tag.
That's such a good idea. I've never heard someone doing that. That's a
Yeah.
really good idea. I'm going to share that. I'm stealing that from you.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
I
I
mean,
don't
I'm
know. I
not sure
feel like
anyone
that's what
wants
I go to.
Sharpie. Yeah, I'm not sure anyone else wants Sharpies written in their jeans, but I don't really give a fuck.
I don't care either. If you're writing it on your inside pocket, no one's seeing
I'm not
anything. Like, who
reselling
cares?
them, whatever. And like my
Yeah.
daughter and I, we have camp labels in our clothes.
Oh, I should do that with my kids because
It's
when I fold like
so
shorts, I'm like, whose are
annoying.
these?
No, no, no. It was life changing.
That's
I
smart.
like all my jeans have labels, all my t-shirts, because half our shit looks the same. Even our
And then she can't
underwear.
steal your stuff
I
too.
know.
Then
And then
like
it's like she likes the low rise hanky panky underwear. I like the mid rise. But when you're folding them up, they all look the same. And I'm like, this is
that is
so
so smart.
annoying.
I've never heard somebody doing that before. That is
That's part of
really
my
smart.
OCD. I'm the messiest OCD person on the planet. Like, I understand how to create a system. I'm just, if you saw what my office looks like right now, my husband's like, somehow you have taken over half of the second floor of the house.
I feel that. I totally feel that. Like I feel like I'm organized in my brain, but it doesn't always translate
Oh
to
yeah, he's
literal.
like, oh yeah. I go, he's like, why is there a wardrobe rack in the bedroom? I go, because I'm packing for New York. And he goes, but you've been saying that for 2 weeks. I'm like, well, it's a process, like I buy shit, I return shit. I don't feel like putting it in my closet, so I hang it there. And he's like, but your office and your closet and the bedroom are now your clothes.
Right.
And he has one little closet that has six things in it.
Right. I don't know how people do that, how they have like capsule wardrobes.
Oh no.
There's so many people posting about capsule wardrobes and I'm like, I can't do that. Like I like to have choices. Like,
Yeah, there's
I
no
don't know.
capsule. Like I carry on packing. I'm sorry.
Oh, I did carry on to Spain and to like the rest of our trip in October, and I nailed it. I was very impressed with myself. I
How
did
did
it.
you do that?
I was very well thought out, and I don't like to wear things. This is a terrible thing to say. I know I get backlash about such silly things, but this is I don't like to wear things twice. I've learned to start wearing
I
my
don't
Levi's more
either.
than once, but if I wear a pair of jeans, I have to wash them. I don't like to wear something twice. With my Levi's, I'm trying to
Me
respect them.
too. That's what my
So
friend Melissa at Love a Good
yeah,
Stripe is making me do. She's like, you wash your jeans every time. She's like, Sarah, part of it is the hang, like from the
yeah.
day before. And I'm like, ah. So I'm like holding myself back from throwing them in the hamper.
But I chatted with her this morning because I was saying that I can only wear pajamas once and they have to go in the laundry.
Mine
And
too.
she agreed with that too. So
Oh,
she agreed
yeah.
with that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't wear gross pajamas.
So traveling was hard because I'm like, I don't want to be on a plane with something and wear that same thing that I was on a plane in on the plane again coming home. Like that was too much for me to handle. And I try to find a place like if you're at a hotel, if you can launder halfway through. But I was really good. We were in Spain for a few days, so I wore stuff that I wore there, and then we ended up on a cruise in other areas. So like I repeated, but people did who we were with didn't see my repetition from one place to the other. But I found it like very easy. I don't know why. And for us, it's like for us to pack in a carry-on, if you have like bulkier clothes or a larger size, it's not so easy. When your clothes are a certain size, it's much easier to get stuff in on a
Yeah, but I
carry-on.
have like,
So
I'm a makeup person. I know you're not a major makeup person. I have Just my toiletries alone is a fucking carry-on.
Yeah, see, I don't do that. That's I guess you're right. That's I brought enough like toiletries to get me through, and if I needed to go to like a pharmacy, I was gonna buy. That's how I went with it.
Right. So I
And
just feel like, but my husband, we've been together so long, like even though he gives me such a hard time about it, I think he fundamentally understands it.
yeah. Well, and also you have your big like medicine case too.
Trust me,
So
I know.
like that takes up a lot of
I
space
have so
also.
many mental issues that I'm working through, Jen. It's insane.
Well, look, we're
We
set in our
we
ways
all do.
and
We all do.
yeah,
We all
we're
have our
totally
own.
it's hard to like deviate from those things that like we're so set in our ways about. So
Well,
I don't know.
when I went on that college trip with my daughter and my husband in the spring,
But the weather was terrible.
yeah,
You
the
needed so many different
oh my
things for that.
God, it was like I was sweating, I was freezing, and it was
It was
snowing, and
raining.
and he was like, "Oh, I packed in carry-on," and I'm like, "Yeah, but you bought a 72-hour wool shirt. I'm
Right.
sorry, I am not wearing a shirt that says 72-hour wool shirt." And he goes, "But." If I didn't bring just carry on between your luggage and Marin's luggage, we would have been like managing luggage for 16 days. And I was like, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously it depends on where you're going. Like cold weather destinations, you can't do carry on. I mean, things are too bulky.
He
But
did. He brought one sweater.
they have that everything that they wear is like a tech fabric. So it rolls into nothing. Like you get it into a packing cube and it's like nothing. It
I,
might keep them warm, but like all of those
but
tech
he doesn't.
things,
I said to him, he has like a capsule wardrobe because I'm like, okay, you have all the same brand button down shirts. You have all the same brand vests, like these puffer vests. You have all the same brand slack, shorts, whatever. And then every twice a year, he just replaces. So
right.
I'm like, how can you even compare that to the pale blue macrame clutch over there or the pink neon sweater? Like,
Right.
how can you even compare those two different ways
No.
of dressing and living?
And they mix it up that like it doesn't even, first of all, it doesn't matter if they look like they're wearing the same thing twice because
I
everything that they
know.
have looks the same. So for us it's different, but I don't know.
And it's
It's
not even just for Instagram, it's for me.
yeah. No, I'm not like I can't that's another thing. Like when we went away, I didn't pack anything that I'm packing for this to be like content. And I tried to like stay away from like I posted, but I stayed away from a lot of things. I stayed away from like link sharing. Like I was on vacation. Like we don't travel like that often. So I wasn't going to use all of that time to be making sure I got like the right shot for content. And I know a lot of people do that and that's fine, but that's not where my brain was. It wasn't a shopping trip. It wasn't a content trip. It was to enjoy myself. And that was the end of it.
Jen, I don't even know
But
how to record myself in clips. I told you that. Like, you need to train me on how to do that because the fucking thing keeps cutting me off, but I can't keep going. I don't even understand. I like people are like, how do you do this? I'm like, I don't even understand what I'm doing. Like, I don't know how to use
I'll
a
give you a link
tripod.
tutorial. Oh, I have my tripod sitting in my grasp right
I
now
don't
from
I
something
don't
I
know
had to
how to
film.
use a tripod. I hold my phone. I don't know how to like set my phone up and record while I'm doing something. Like my skills are so low level.
Well, I'll give you I'm like, when I get people to start sharing links, I'm like, I will give you a shop my tutorial. I'm happy to help you because so many people want to start. Nobody knows how to start with like doing
Yeah.
stories or whatever and how to do it. So I'm always happy to give a tutorial in
Oh my
any
God.
way.
No, I definitely need a tutor. Okay, let's talk before we wrap up. Let's talk about like the menopause saga. Where are you in all of that?
Do you want to see my patch I have right now
Uh,
on my I don't know where I am because this is going to be TMI. I have an IUD. I'm not giving it up. I don't want to go through the whole like gushing of things. And I think that's
which
hold
IUD do you have?
the marina.
And is that the
And I've
one
had it,
is that hormonal or
it's
non-hormonal?
hormonal. Yeah. So my doctor said it's probably helping me a little bit at this point. I also didn't love my last doctor's visit. I didn't love a lot of the answers she gave me. So I came home and I did the research and I took it upon myself to get myself a prescription for the patch. And, I think I think it's very crazy how we have to advocate for ourselves in such a way, and that within this space, so many doctors are not up to date on things that we're experiencing,
It's
and we're
crazy.
just expected to go through it and then like maybe try hormones after. I'm like, but you expect me to go through all of these symptoms and suffer through these symptoms, and once it's over, you want to give me like a hormone? I don't get that, and I don't appreciate it. So,
So did you just
um,
start the patch?
yeah, about a month ago.
And how's that feeling?
You know what? Everyone's, so many people were like, it's life changing, it's life changing. I don't know if I feel like it's life changing right now. I'm gonna stay with it
Are you on the
because I'm
lowest
hope
dose?
the lowest dose. But even if I don't feel anything, for what I read that it's gonna do for your heart health and your
Yes.
brain health and all of those things, that's I would go through all of the night sweats in the world, which I don't really suffer from right now, which I don't want to say it in the universe
But
because
what
I don't
are
want it
your
to come get me.
symptoms?
What are my symptoms? Well, I have shoulder pain. It's not frozen shoulder. I can't pinpoint what it is. Maybe it's gotten a little bit better. I have joint pain, especially in my wrists, but I have very weak wrists. Um, I have mild little things that were nothing, but I also wanted to get ahead of it before something, it's like when you have a tiny bit of a headache, take your Advil now
A
before
hundred
it gets
percent.
really
Why do you
bad.
think I have all those blood tests? I don't even know what half of
Yeah.
them are for.
So I just wanted to be, I'm nervous for the future with my bone health. I asked my doctor, he's like, you're too young for bone density tests right now. I'm nervous. I don't want to break a hip.
Wait, you're not,
I don't
how
want
old are
to,
you?
I'm 52.
You're not too young. I've already had two.
My doctor just told me I was too young. Okay. I need to go back. Okay. We
And
need
my
to revisit that.
brother-in-law is 6 years younger than me, and he just had one.
Really? Okay. So I need to revisit. See, and that's why we have this community. So like we
Yeah,
learn
no,
this
no,
stuff from
no,
each
no,
other.
no.
And there are so many people who have gone through menopause and they're like, I'm through it now. Why do I need hormones now? I'm like, well, it could still benefit you for your
Oh my
your heart,
God.
your bone, and your brain. Like those are the most important things in our body. Like, how do
I
you not
know.
want to protect that? So, and I can't even tell you all of the DMs that I got that everyone's like, well, you shouldn't be on this because you're on this. You shouldn't be on this
I
because you're
know.
on. You have a, how do you know? You have to go through, you have to have a blood test to know if you're going through menopause. No, you don't, because
No, you
that's not
don't.
accurate. And my doctor was like, you have to take your IUD out for me to, and wait like a month for your hormone levels to get like normal. And then I'll give you a blood test and then we can put it back in. I was like, hell no, it's staying where it is. I'm not going through that. I'm just going to trudge through and see how I can do it, like with the patch, the estradiol patch, whatever it is, and with my IUD. And
And do
that's
you
what
take
I'm
progesterone at night too?
now, because the progesterone is in the IUD.
Oh, got it, got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because like for me, I'm in a weird situation because I've been on birth control pills since I was 14. I'm not advocating that anyone take birth control pills. It was just my solution at age 14 for my PCOS. And so I've basically been masking all my PCOS symptoms for 400 years.
Right.
But it worked for me,
Right. Exactly.
and
And if
it's
something works for you, then who are we to say that you shouldn't be doing it?
right. But
That's,
the doctors are like, okay, well, at some point you have to come off the birth control pill and go on to the patch and blah, blah, blah. And I'm happy to do all of those things. I just feel like for me, I have to find the right timing because I'm a sensitive person. And like my daughter's applying to colleges soon. And like
yeah,
that's a whole stress container. So for me
right.
to go, oh, let me just say fuck it to my hormones,
Right.
go
And then
off of
get
what
brain fog and then not be able to sleep and
uh,
then blah, blah, blah. Like,
and
who
I'm
wants
like
that?
trying to do my podcast and she's like talking to me about college applications. Like I just don't feel like that's a good time.
Definitely.
So for me, I'm like, okay, in my mind, like in 6 months and I have a minute to breathe, then maybe I can put my body through that like crazy transition. Or maybe it'll be seamless. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely had symptoms when I started it, like very like period like symptoms when I first started. It seems to have gone down now, like at the month mark. But I was also, one of the things that I was getting panic attacks like in the middle of the night. Like I would wake up having a panic attack. And like to calm yourself down when that happens, it's really hard. And it
Yeah.
wasn't like I couldn't sleep, but I would literally wake up with a panic attack. So it
And
freaks
that's
you out.
very hard to explain to a spouse, I
Yeah.
think. Like my
Yeah,
husband's nice and lovely, but I don't think he intuitively understands a female panic attack,
right. No,
because
it's
he
scary.
he doesn't
And you get the
have
heart
that.
racing. That's like really,
Yeah, I know. And then I take a thyroid medication, and then I was having like heart palpitations. So then they lowered my thyroid medication. So that was one of the tests is like, okay, I've been on a lower thyroid medication for a couple months. Let's see where I'm at right now. Like everything's kind of like
yeah.
like a
No,
science experiment.
it's definitely a science experiment. And, it's important that you're talking about all of these things. And it's important that we should not bash each other and discount what people are going through and what's working for them and what didn't work for somebody else, because we're all so different and we feel what's going on in our bodies. And I think intuitively we kind of know what we, should be asking for, especially like, do you know how many podcasts, like how many, like Dr. Marie Claire I listened to, obviously with you, and so many different menopause podcasts. I was taking notes before I went to my doctor. So when I went in there and she was like, no, frozen shoulder has nothing to do with menopause. I was like, get my legs out of these stirrups and get me the hell out of
Yeah,
here.
no, I
You are,
know.
you are not for me. So thank God you're talking about all of these things. And then it leads to everybody else talking about these things because everybody's so far behind, and
I
there's no
know.
reason that we need to feel shitty because like the doctors are far behind. It's
And it's
not.
this weird thing, Jen, where I feel like there's certain times where we just start accepting things as our new normal.
Totally. And that's what the doctors say. They're like, well, that's just the way it is. I'm
Eh,
like, no,
no, no.
no.
And I know
Like,
some
we
people are
should be sleeping.
anti-medication and all of that stuff, and everyone has different reasons. And I get a lot of backlash about taking birth control pills. I don't care. Like,
Yeah,
this is what's worked for me until now, and I'm aware of it. I know that I'm going to switch off of it. I'm trying to figure out who the best doctor is, what my best plan is, how I'm going to do it. Is it going to be a 2-week transition, a 2-month transition? I just feel like everyone needs to do their own thing, but just settling for shit, no chance.
yeah, I totally agree. And settling for stuff that the doctors tell us or our friends tell us. Like, we have to, I don't know, we have to find the right space for ourselves. It's so tough because men don't have this issue. Obviously they have a hangnail and the doctor's like, you need to do this and that. We have a hangnail and they're like, oh, you're fine. Like, it's really the healthcare system right now for menopausal women is really, it's not fair.
I know it's funny. My husband's complaining about being tired the past few weeks. And I'm like, maybe you have menopause.
Yes, well, that is a thing,
It
right?
is
Don't
a
there, like,
thing.
it is a thing. Yeah, it's totally a
And he's
thing,
like,
which
thanks,
they'll never
Sarah.
admit to
Oh, yeah.
either.
He's
They
like,
won't admit
thanks,
to it.
Sarah. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just saying. I'm like, but we'll find out in your blood work that we just
We're like,
did.
let's see what your testosterone level is.
Exactly, exactly. Because last time he did his testosterone, it was normal. So I was like, okay, well, maybe your testosterone is dipping a little bit, like my fucking estrogen is dipping.
It's crazy. I don't know. It's a crazy time. It's very it's
But I
not
feel
fun.
like if
And
you have a sense of humor about it, if you're smart about it, fight for yourself, advocate for yourself, don't give up. You're willing to experiment because doctors are they're not all-knowing beings. What works for
definitely,
one patient doesn't necessarily work for another patient.
definitely. Like, people who have like these crazy night sweats, like, I don't know why I keep saying it because I feel like I'm putting it into the universe. I don't want to jinx myself. Like, it must be her. I can't even imagine
Me
what that is.
neither.
I get the littlest one and I'm like, it passes really quickly. So I'm like, thank goodness. But I can't imagine people who wake up with their bed drenched and what
Me
you have to
neither.
go
I'm
through. And
sweating recording a podcast in the studio. I'm carrying a fan. I'm all heated up. I have adrenaline pumping. That I get, but being the drenched, I haven't had that yet. I'm uncomfortably misty.
oh, it's a good way to put it.
Do you know what I'm saying? And my
Yeah.
husband has this fucking thing where he's like, you don't understand what the air conditioning bill is. And I'm like, okay. So he has programmed the whole house that the air conditioning runs at night. but
Uh-huh.
during the day, it's at like
It's
74. But he's at work and 74 feels really fucking hot to me. And so when I go room to room, I have to turn the air conditioning on. I can do it through my phone. I turn the air conditioning on room by room, like I'm in college. And then it automatically turns off after an hour.
right. Oh, that's
Because
smart.
yeah, it's smart, but it's annoying because I
Yeah, but at
feel
least you
like,
don't get in trouble for leaving it on the whole day, like too cold in one of the rooms.
oh my God, I get in trouble for so many things and I don't even fucking listen. He's like, you left the ceiling fans on in the gym. And I'm like, okay, so shoot me. Like, what? Like, if that's the worst shit I do, like, give me a break. But the air
Our ceiling
conditioning
fans
thing is
run
a
all
big
day.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the air conditioning, I definitely like at night. I'm like, did you put the air like we sleep with our room really cold at like 64 degrees, and even in the winter, I mean, we live in New York, we don't sleep with the heat on in our bedroom at night. So our room gets down to like 62 degrees. So we love a cold space for like for sleeping. But also like we have high ceilings and windows, so the air conditioning can't fight it. So it's
I know.
never
Well,
really cold in our house.
that's what he keeps saying. And I go,
Yeah.
do you want to be those people where someone comes into your house and they're sweating? I'm like, do you remember my grandmother Ruth? We would walk into her apartment on Ocean Avenue and we'd be sweating immediately. I'm like, we turned into those people. Turn the fucking AC on.
Oh my God. My parents' house in Florida, we go to sleep. It's like 75. They have it at like 75. I'm like, we cannot sleep here.
No,
It's so damn hot. How do you
no.
sleep at 75 degrees? That's
I don't
insane.
know. Like that's like we went to Hawaii once with his family. Don't even ask. There was only one room that had AC.
Oh my
His
gosh.
parents had that room, and we all were in rooms that had ceiling fans. And I
Ugh,
wasn't like spoiled or anything. And but I was like, wait, you don't understand. Like, how are we sleeping here? Like with
total, a
ceiling
hundred
fans and
percent.
100% humidity, it's like being at camp.
And I have to sleep under all the blankets. Like I'm
Me
not on
too.
top of
No, no,
things.
no,
I
no.
have
And
to be like
I have a
covered,
weighted
covered.
blanket. And he's like, you're complaining about the temperature, but you're under a weighted blanket. I'm like, yeah, but I need the weighted blanket.
I am 100% with you.
It's so many things,
100%.
Jen. I mean, and
It's a lot of things.
we're all high maintenance and it's a lot of midlife things, but I'm
It's
okay with
not high
that.
maintenance though, because it's literally physically what we're going through. So it's not so high maintenance because if they were experiencing these things, which they're lucky they don't, they would be mental. They would not be able to deal with
Mental.
the
And like
things that we deal with.
we're going to New York on Saturday and then Miami and talk about heat and
Oh my
humidity.
God, it's so hot.
I'm
It's so
gonna
hot both
be
places.
my like nice blow dry is gonna be a wet bun. I've already like mentally committed to that.
Yeah. There's no
Like,
blow drying.
yeah,
No blow drying.
I think it's like a wet bun because I don't think there's any blow dry that's staying.
No. And you don't want to be using that hot air. It's too hot.
It's
It's
so
too hot.
hot. And are
Yeah,
you guys
it's too
having a
hot.
heat wave right now or it's coming?
Yeah, but it's like so not hot here. It's so nice.
But what
I
part
mean, it's
of, but
not,
are you in the Hamptons? Where are you?
we're in the Hamptons. I don't always say, but we're
I
in the
know.
Hamptons. We're on the western side, not
But do you
so
live
far
there
east.
full time?
Yeah, year round. We've lived here for just about 25 years, all year,
Wow. One of my
full
really
time.
good friends lives there full time too. I'll have to introduce you guys.
Yeah. It's a nice life. It's a different life. It's a quiet life. It's good for the kid. I mean, there's a lot of things. There are things that you definitely miss. You know, we're 2 hours from the city, so it's not like someone's like, come into the city for this. And I'm like, oh, it's 2 hours away,
Yeah,
you
no, I
know?
get it.
So there are things, but it's nice. It's a
It's
nice,
like, I mean, look, it's suburbia.
yeah.
The
It's
Hamptons.
quiet suburbia. It's
Yeah.
quiet suburbia and not when you're not in season, the traffic is obviously not like what it is now. Now it's like my son works further east and like there's something that we call the trade parade. So when he goes to work, he's like now he knows what the trade parade is because he's stuck in all this traffic going and coming.
Because
So
he's in
it's
it.
he's in it now.
Oh
Yeah, he's
my
in the trade
God.
parade. Yeah.
I know.
So
Oh my God. Isn't it funny when they actually have to like do shit on their own?
they
Like
could do
things,
it.
they do it. I know. My
They
son,
do
he's
it.
like, I just made a steak the other night, all these things. Not that I even can do a steak, But he's like, oh, and I bought the same cast iron thing that Marin has, my daughter, and da 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 da. And it's just funny. And I was like, did you know how to clean it? He goes, Mom, it just is what it is. And I'm like, okay, not my
Your
problem.
kids are such good cooks.
I
It's so
don't even, but
crazy.
Jen, I don't even cook. I like, there's not one thing I've ever made. And I have these kids who are like my daughter's a cook. My son is just on like a protein thing. So he decided to become like a steak master. But if you asked him to make
Right.
anything else, he couldn't.
But I mean, it's great that he learned how to do it. Like, and he's doing it well, and he's
Well, it's
cooking it to like
YouTube.
a, you learn how to do anything from
I know,
YouTube.
but I'm just lazy.
No, you have to want to do it. Like everyone's like, how did you learn how to do whatever? I'm like, YouTube. You go on YouTube, you can learn how to do anything. If my dryer's broken, I Google what the like code is before I call my husband and be like, I'm always like, the dryer's broken, but I Googled the code and it's PF92 and that means X, Y. Like, so it's not like I have to like brace him for like what it is, but I always Google it first. So, and then you could fix half of the things if you go on YouTube.
Oh,
So
I don't do any of that. I just text my husband and I'm like, find someone to fix
call
the
the
dryer.
repairman.
Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
deal with that shit. Because I have to deal with like the blood tests and prescriptions and doctors. And he doesn't
It's
pre-screen
not your
shit for
department.
me. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have totally different departments.
Yeah. I always say it's not my department, but
Yeah.
my husband fixes everything. So like I have to like brace him before he's like, what's broken now? You know, it's always something, as they say. So
Yeah,
you know,
your
when there's a list
body,
of the
your washing
somethings,
machine, your
yeah,
dryer.
there's
I
a
know I
list.
saw the gardener blowing leaves into the pool the other day, and I was like, is this a fucking joke? Like,
Are you
what?
calling my pool guy to come and clean that now?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so then I'm like, and Jake was having friends come, and I'm like, do we have a net? We didn't have a pool until this house. We had our prior house for 18 years, there was no pool. So I didn't even think about pool issues.
Right.
Now there's a pool, and I'm like, okay, but I don't want a dirty pool.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
called the gardener supervisor and I was like, do you think maybe they could like close the pool or maybe just not blow the leaves into the pool because it's going to take someone 3 hours to dig those out?
Oh my God, I would be so like that. It's such a silly thing,
It
but like I would be
is.
so annoyed about something like that, that they're cleaning something and making a mess someplace else.
Yeah.
Like,
And then
yeah,
like blowing the leaves down the stairs. I'm like, but the leaf pile's at the bottom of the stairs now, dude. And
right.
I'm standing outside the window watching the leaf pile. Like, is somebody sweeping this up or am I supposed to do that? I mean, there's a very high maintenance problems. I totally get that.
So, but you know what? A lot of people have those, big house, small house. A lot of people have these problems. So,
I
you know,
know.
when you have a house, you have problems. It doesn't matter if you're in
I know.
a
Now I see
500
why
square foot
people
house
move
or
to
5,000.
condos.
I know. I could never live in. I don't know. I feel like I always say like if we ever downsize, like I need to have this much distance, but like I need distance. Like I don't want to be like I need to have a different room to be in. I need some space.
I know.
I need I
That's
mean
how
I
I
know you
am
could get a
too.
big condo, but I need
Yeah,
a
and
wingspan of a
and you need
space.
space for your archives. Is it the attic that you have?
It's the basement.
Oh, it's a basement.
Do you have basements in California?
This
Do
house,
you have
we
basements?
typically don't. My
Yeah.
last house did not. This house does. But this house
Yeah.
basement is not like, it's not really like a storage-ish basement. It's like there's a gym. Like, it's like more of a entertaining-ish basement, even though I've
Right.
never entertained in it, not once. There's like a wine cellar thing. There's not one bottle of wine in it.
Well, you're only been there for a short time, so you still have plenty of time to turn it into something different.
Yeah, even though my husband's like, yeah, when our second one graduates, let's move. I'm like, okay, we'll deal with that
Oh
one
my
later.
goodness.
We'll deal with
Yeah.
that one later.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I know.
That's
It's always negotiation station. We'll see. He knows I'm never doing
well,
anything I don't want to do, so
and that's also marriage, everything is a negotiation, every single thing. So, and I feel like we negotiate more, but than they do. But it's not all these things are not easy.
do you ever give
You
any clothes away?
I do. Mostly it's like, more of the fast fashion-y stuff that gets given away. But I gave my niece, my sister Amory's daughter, a Fendi bag.
Okay.
So,
No, no, meaning like Melissa, she is always like, Sarah, you've had those Gucci shoes or whatever, sneakers are literally like you've had those for 20 years and you haven't worn them. And I'm like, I know, I just can't give them away. There's
I
just
I mean, in my basement, that's where they are. We have a cedar closet. There's a stack of wedges. I'm like, I can't give them away. I don't know what it is, but
but do you actually wear them?
I like to have, they're like insurance. Like if I need something, like I know it's there and I can like go run to it. And I feel like this year, I don't really, for summer things, I'm like trying to use what I have and maybe use it in a different way. So I've been kind of rummaging through and looking for things that I haven't worn maybe in a while and like repurposing them for this year.
See, but
So
that gets me into the linking problem, Jen, because when everyone asks
I
why I
know,
don't link, a
I
lot of my
know,
shit's old. Like,
is not new. I
yeah,
know.
like today when before I changed into a bathing suit for you, I was wearing a camisole that's like 8 years old.
But you can, I mean, that's my issue also because I don't wear a lot of the stuff I don't wear is new. And but there's so many things that you can show that's something similar to what you're wearing.
right, but
And you
that
can,
takes time. So then do you have to search like purple triangle bikini and then
I
you
mean, you have to decide. Like if I can't find something within like the first 10 minutes, then I'm like over it. I'm like, forget it. So that's how I try and do it. I don't want to think about it. Like
and
I'll put a
sometimes I
little bit of
don't
thought.
like the thing that's the similar thing. I want the fucking thing.
Yeah. But the people who are you're sharing it with might like the thing that's a similar thing. So you also like one thing that like is something that's hard to learn. You can't shop with other people's wallets. So a lot of times, like if I post something that's like very expensive, everyone's like, "Oh my God, I love that," but it's so expensive. But there are the other people who don't think that that's expensive, and then the some people who love like the Target thing or the H&M thing wouldn't buy that because they're going to buy, like, so that's why it's like, I try to keep it all mixed up because there's always something for everyone.
Yeah. And then there's
I don't
some
know.
people who are like, pick your fucking lane, pick your niche. You can't accommodate high, low, all the things, this person, that person, the midlife woman who wants to use the F word, the midlife woman who doesn't want to use the F bomb. Just pick your lane and do it.
But like, that's how we all shop. I mean, you were wearing that Zara bubble dress the other day that I was like, what is that dress? So
Right.
you shop that way, whether it's like
100%.
Zara and then Gucci. So like,
I
I
think
feel
this
like
is from Target, this bathing suit.
it
It's like a
Walmart,
Missoni-ish.
Target.
Yeah. I mean, it's
We're
probably
repping.
5 years old. I don't even know. It has
Yeah.
like weird
This is
padding in
last
it.
year's Walmart. It held up great. I think it was like 7.99.
But then, then there's the special vintage Levi's. You got to pick and choose where you want
Or
to
a pair of
invest.
Millie Lotan jeans for
Oh my God.
$450
I
that it's
know.
like, you have to figure it out, but it's
It's
all
a thing.
balance.
Okay, so
Yeah.
before we wrap up, where can people find you?
Um, Jen.Sattler on Instagram, also Jen.Sattler on TikTok, which I'm
Is
not really
Jen
so
with two
consistent.
N's or one?
I'm a single N Jen.
Okay.
One
That's a
N
good
Jen.
one. Okay.
Single N Jen.
And
Yeah.
if you had one piece of advice for midlife women who are kind of just trying to figure out what to do next, what is it?
Oh, I think I get this from you so much because I think whatever it is that you're interested in, like needle pointing or fashion or whatever, just do it. Gardening, go to Home Depot, buy that first plant. Whatever it is, you have to start somewhere and do it. We all need a little something for ourselves instead of doing for everybody else all day long. Like, even if we spend 10 minutes reading a book for ourselves or gardening or sharing links, like do something for you, find it, whatever it is that brings you joy, and take the first step and just fucking do it. Do it. Do it.
I love it. You know what the hard part is when you're at a dinner party and someone says, "What do you do?"
Oh, I
If
hate that.
it's the worst.
I
And
hate
then you're
that.
like, what are you supposed to say? Oh, I started needle pointing. So that's what I've been kind of like working on is like, what's that answer that like
But
satisfies?
why do we diminish ourselves
I
like
know,
that
but
also? I mean,
just so that you feel better. Like, you know, when someone asks you what you do, what do you say?
honestly, I don't say much because I feel like I feel like an asshole. Like, oh, I'm a content creator. Like, I don't know what to say.
I
It
know,
makes
but
me
isn't that
extremely
annoying?
uncomfortable. Yeah, I like seize up automatically. It makes me very uncomfortable.
I
And I could be
know.
friends with people who aren't on Instagram or whatever. They don't even know I do anything all day because like I don't like walk around and talk about it. So I don't know. It's a weird space to be in, and I don't know why. We should be proud of ourselves.
I
So
know. I think we have to come up with, I said this on one of my other podcasts, like a self-expansionist.
that's
Like you're
yeah.
doing some woo-woo shit. You're knitting, you're buying a plant, you're going on a vacation, you're figuring out your next workout routine. You're
I mean,
like,
whatever is good for our central nervous system and is bringing us peace and calm, then like we shouldn't diminish whatever that is.
right, but it was a lot, I think it's a lot easier for stay-at-home moms, even though that's not great either, is
Right.
it was like,
Yeah.
I'm a mom.
Hmm.
And there was some shame in that too, kind of like, oh, you're
Yeah.
just a mom, like, oh, you're just a
Yeah.
housewife, whatever. But
People will
now,
shame you no matter what. They will find a way to shame you no matter what. So I think that we have to learn to be confident about whatever it is and just say it and stand firm behind it. And I have to take my own advice with that too.
I know we all do. We have to own our own shit. Jen, I'm
Totally.
so fucking happy you showed up to this podcast in a bathing suit. That's the first time for everything. So it's poolside with Jen, even though did not move to the pool because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to bring the microphone. But next
And I'm glad
time,
you didn't hear all the stuff
I know,
around
next
here.
time we're gonna do it at my pool with the leaves in the pool. Oh, and the
Okay.
pool that I've only been in once because I don't get my hair wet.
Oh, well, I'll be in the pool in a few minutes because I'm sweating and I get my hair wet. But I love you. I'm so
I
happy we
love
did
you
this.
too. I'm
I love
so
you so
happy you're
much.
here, and we'll have to do something again soon.
Definitely,
All right,
definitely.
doll. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Love
Bye.
you.
Love you
Bye.
too.